Hello, I'm Chris Shank, grandson of Jim and Ellen Resch, founders of the Hope Center at Hagerstown Rescue Mission, and I'd like to welcome you to 60 Years of Hope in Hagerstown. In January of 1954, a small group of men and women began meeting for prayer at Christ Lutheran Church in Hagerstown. Armed with great faith, a burden for ministry, and a calling from God, Jimmy Resch cast a vision for a rescue mission in Hagerstown, a ministry that Jimmy was certain was needed. In July of that same year, the mission was officially named Hagerstown Union Mission, as the core group of believers continued to meet and pray about God's plan for Hagerstown and for the Resch family. That plan became evident on May 19, 1955, when the Hagerstown Union Mission officially opened its doors to the hurting within the community. Located at the corner of Jonathan Street and Jail Alley, the mission property was a far cry from the comfort and security the Resch family had known in beautiful Penmar, Maryland. Moving his wife, their 4 daughters, and infant son into a second-floor apartment on the mission grounds was the beginning of a faith journey that Jimmy and the entire Resch family would walk out, while the hurting and desperate walked in. They entered through the mission's open doors on that very first day, bolstering Jimmy's confidence that God intended this community to have a rescue mission ministry. As Jimmy embraced his work with the needy and lost in Hagerstown, he enhanced his knowledge by attending the Summer School of Alcohol Studies at Yale University in 1957. And it was that same year that the Hagerstown Union Mission moved to its current location at 125 North Prospect Street. Because of his passion for souls and his desire to see lives changed, God greatly used the ministry of Jimmy Resch and the Hagerstown Union Mission to open rescue missions in Cumberland, Maryland, Westminster, Maryland, Frederick, Maryland, York, Pennsylvania, Martinsburg, West Virginia, and Winchester, Virginia, as well as the Cedar Ridge Children's Home, Forest State's Crusade for Christ, and the Good Samaritan Lodge. Thrift stores were also opened in Hancock, Maryland, Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, and Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. As a result, the Corporation of Forest States Christian Missions, Inc. was established. Over the next 60 years, many changes would shape the mission and the small but dedicated group of family and staff that have made Hagerstown Union Mission their life's work. But through the years, one thing has remained unchanged: the purpose and focus that Jimmy and that small group prayed for decades ago as the same purpose and focus that the mission stands for today, the life-changing message of hope that can be found through a relationship with Jesus Christ is available to all who come. That is why in 2008, the name of the Hagerstown Union Mission was changed to the Hope Center at Hagerstown Rescue Mission, offering hope when there seemed to be no hope. The words of Jesus in Luke 4:18 is the motivation and foundation for all programs and services at the Hope Center. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He has anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed. The inspiring words of Jesus that led Jimmy to step out in faith 6 decades ago still stand as the timeless message of hope for today, illuminating the darkness with the light of Jesus, reaching out to a lost and dying world. That is the Hope Center at Hagerstown Rescue Mission. Today, the unique problems and challenges of the needy and downtrodden remain the same. And for many of the men, the emergency shelter at the Hope Center is the first step in facing their difficulties and moving forward towards recovery. Open 365 days a year, the Hope Center's emergency shelter is Hagerstown's first and only full-time shelter offering clean and safe overnight accommodations to men in crisis. A clean bed, hot showers, a change of clothing, and breakfast and evening meals are provided for 30 consecutive nights for those who wish to stay. As the immediate physical needs of the men are met, their spiritual needs are fed as well. At 7:30 each morning, the shelter men are invited to join the residents of the Hope Center as Executive Director Sonny Shank teaches an in-depth Bible study and leads scripture memorization. In 2014, hundreds of lives were impacted as more than 446 different men were provided emergency shelter at the Hope Center. For those men who are seeking a change in their lives, both physically and spiritually, the Foundations for Life Recovery program is offered. This in-depth program is designed for the men who have expressed a desire to break the cycle of homelessness and addiction and truly transform their lives. The program encourages individual accountability and responsibility through Bible studies, work assignments, counseling, and a class curriculum that includes life skills, anger management, and addiction classes. Upon successful completion of this 13-month program, the graduates are honored at a moving ceremony that celebrates their accomplishments and commitment to a new way of living.
In 2 weeks, I graduate a program here at the mission. And even though it's been a journey, trials in it, that's exactly what I'm saying, is that God has allowed me to endure trials in this, through being here at the mission, and He has allowed me to rest and find peace, you know, and for that I'm so grateful.
I just thank God for what He's doing in my life, and this program, this foundational program, it is really foundational, because you have to start somewhere. Even if they're just baby steps, you have to start making those steps and, you know, help God turn you can't turn your life around on your own. I found that out. You know, all the things that I tried, and even the things I did that may have impressed people, or, you know, maybe people may have said I was doing good. I never felt I was doing good. And then I had this kind of Damascus experience in this area that we call the bailiff room, where, you know, some people are designated to work. And I just cried out to God. I shouted out to God, matter of fact, and I said, "What do you want from me?" And God said, "I want all of you." And I said, you know, right there and then, that was my moment. I said, you know, if there's anything that you can do with me, do it. And if there's not, let me die. And He showed me, He proved me that there is something I can do with you. And He's been doing something with me ever since. Just, you know, I can't explain it. I got people around me that I look up to, but now they look up to me. And that's nothing but God's work.
The Hope Center remains dedicated to meeting very real needs in our local community, and that means providing help to men, women, children, and entire families. In the late 1980s, members of Hagerstown City Council and Washington County Commissioners met with mission staff to discuss ways in which we could better meet the needs of poor and disadvantaged citizens in our community. As a result, our daily soup line was opened, offering a free hot lunch to disadvantaged people every day of the year. Each week, a different staff member from the Hope Center greets the guests and shares with them a brief message of hope before the meal. In 2014, more than 14,000 people received a hot, nutritious meal at Soup Line. The Hope Center is proud to be a participating agency in the Washington County Food Bank program. Bags of food are given free of charge to families and individuals who qualify for assistance. In 2014, 207 bags and boxes of groceries were distributed. One thing that has not changed through the years is the chapel service that is open every evening to the community. Through the partnership of 40 local host churches and individuals, the chapel is filled with music and fellowship, and the life-changing gospel of Christ is heard every night of the week. Following the services, the guests are invited to stay and share a hot meal with us. More than 16,000 men, women, and children were served a meal after chapel in 2014.
We're involved with the Hope Center as a volunteer ministry in our lives. We enjoy being here because we believe that if you're going to cross the ocean to do missions work, you should cross the street first. And why go overseas and do missions if you're not going to do missions in your own town? So about 15 years ago, the Lord led me in here to ask Mr. Shank if there was a need or something that I could help meet, and he said that we could really use someone to teach one of our afternoon chapels during the week. So for the past 15 years, when I'm not on a mission trip, I'm here at the Rescue Mission teaching chapel and sharing the Word and giving hope from God's Word about how life can be better.
The mission benefits our church by giving a very practical, we'll call it put your theology in work clothes. It gives us an outlet to involve people in ministry. It gives us a training ground for equipping people to minister, helping them build their own skills in their own ministries and coming in. It gives us a connection with the community that, you know, if you just think about how do we begin to help the community, where would you even start at? And so the Rescue Mission already has an active ongoing ministry that we're just able to come alongside and join with at various times and be involved. And so it just gives us a great structured outlet to plug into the community in a way that we wouldn't be able to do on our own.
From the very beginning, weekly children's meetings were a part of the ministry of the Hagerstown Rescue Mission. These one-hour meetings were a way to teach neighborhood children about the love of Jesus. In 1969, the mission purchased an 89-acre farm along the Conococheague Creek just 5 miles west of Hagerstown. Part of this property was to be used for children's ministry, so the summer of 1970, Conoco Day Camp began. The barn was used for crafts, indoor games, and lunch until the Trinity Center was built in 1980. In 1981, a puppet team was started known as the Lighthouse Puppeteers. This group was very active in ministry in churches, schools, and teaching seminars in the art of puppetry. Using the skills of puppetry, a TV show was developed in 1990 called Just Kids. This 30-minute program opened a whole new opportunity for ministry to children and also paved the way for the Just Kids Bible Club, a Bible correspondence course for kids. Today, reaching children at an early age is the goal of Wildside Youth Ministries. Utilizing special event parties and services such as Sunday Night Wild, children ages 5 through 12 hear about Jesus in a fun and loving environment that is geared especially for them, with leaders who invest their lives weekly. In the summer months, Camp Wild, a 4-week summer day camp, offers these kids an opportunity to participate in a fun and exciting camp experience free of charge. In 2014, over 200 children attended Camp Wild. In 2008, a new program called The Crew was started. Designed as a way to cultivate young leaders from within Wildside Youth Ministries, The Crew encourages each participant to sharpen their artistic skills and talents. Kids involved with The Crew create props and learn the art of video production and editing. Through this unique program, children are rewarded with a sense of achievement and are inspired to become leaders in their homes, classrooms, and communities. The Hope Center operates 2 thrift stores that provide both a service to the local community and operating revenue for the Hope Center. Located on the corner of Church and Walnut Streets in Hagerstown and on South Main Street in Chambersburg, the Hope Center thrift stores have a wide array of clothing, shoes, books, toys, household items, and furniture to choose from. Did you know that you can go green and help the Hope Center help others all at the same time? Your donations of newspaper, cardboard, and rags are recycled, and those funds help underwrite the programs and services we offer. Through the Family Assistance Program, gifts of clothing, furniture, and household items are provided to indigent families each year. This is another way that the Hope Center shares the love of Christ with those who need it most. Thanksgiving Day has always been a special time at the Hope Center. Since 1957, we have shared and celebrated the day with the community by providing a turkey feast prepared and served by our staff and volunteers. In 2014, more than 40 volunteers served over 275 people. The Ladies Auxiliary is comprised of a group of dedicated women who sacrifice their time and resources to assist the Hope Center in its many ministry outreaches. Women can play an active part in making a difference in our community by being a part of the Ladies Auxiliary, which meets the first Monday of every month at 7 p.m.
One of the special memories that I have in being involved in this ministry, and especially the auxiliary, are how we can interact with the residents who stay here. And one of the residents, years ago, his name was Amos, and Amos didn't have any legs. He was in a wheelchair, and basically we took care of him, but we just loved him. He was just very special to us. But he always liked it when the ladies came around, and he always called our group of ladies the Ladies Artillery. And we just got such a kick out of him, and he was just full of humor and full of life, and we just loved him, and we really miss Amos. And he's only one of many, and that's why we're here. That's why we do this, to just touch the lives of those that come our way.
Each week, a Bible study and fellowship is offered to women of the community. The Coffee Klatch program, held on Thursday mornings, is a place where women can connect and grow closer to God. After a time of refreshments and fellowship, women can join together in the chapel for a time of singing, testimonies, and a study of God's Word.
My name is Anna Moonmaker. My husband and I were in Africa for almost 30-some years. But we had contacts with Rescue Mission because Ellen Resch was my sister, and every time we had a furlough, we'd come and help. And the time that we came to leave the field of Africa and stay home, then we spent more time at the mission with a ladies group that was called the Coffee Class, and we loved that. I loved teaching the Coffee Class, and Dorcas was the music director, and we just had a wonderful time. We still do with those ladies, and we have about 27 women coming, and it's a very good relationship, and we're glad we learned to know the mission, not just serving the Lord overseas, but it was a way that we could continue to serve Him, and we loved it.
60 years ago, Jimmy Resch answered God's call and began a ministry of hope that still stands today. That ministry continues to exist because of the thousands of people who have sacrificed their time, talent, and treasure to the least of our society.
You know, if you don't have to look across the ocean to find needs, there are needs right here in our own country. There's needs right here in our own city. And right here in the heart of Hagerstown is a wonderful opportunity for people to get involved in serving and giving. And some people have been blessed with resources, and they could help fund some of the things that go on here at the mission, because the gospel is lived every day right here at the Hope Center. I mean, this is the place where people are being fed spiritually, physically. I would highly recommend that if there's Christians out there who want to just get involved in their own hometown, we pass it every day right here in Hagerstown, and get involved with your resources, your time, your talents, and come ask Mr. Shank, how can I help? Where can I serve? What are some needs that I can get involved with?
The Hope Center is a member in good standing with the Association of Gospel Rescue Missions and the Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability.